I met my teenage daughter at her mom's funeral, now she lives with us. So, yeah, buckle the hell up. 3 months ago, I had a mortgage, a 3-year-old son obsessed with dinosaurs, a wife who liked schedule sex and watching HGTV, and exactly 0 teenagers in my life. I was living that Costco on the weekends, mow the lawn on Sundays, grilled chicken for dinner kind of existence. The kind of life where your biggest concern is whether your kid's daycare teacher thinks you're involved enough. Now, I've got a 16-year-old daughter who actively hates me, a wife who's one emotional breakdown away from moving in with her sister in Florida, and a house that feels like a war zone where everyone's walking on eggshells made of rage, grief, and teen angst. And I wake up every day with this bizarre mix of guilt, panic, and this tiny flicker of something like hope. Or gas. It could be gas. Anyway, here's how the whole mess started. Years ago, 18 to be exact, I had a very, very dumb summer. I was 21, single, working construction, drinking way too much, and living in a shared apartment with a guy who kept ferrets. It was peak chaotic energy. I hooked up with this girl, Cassie, for a couple of months. We weren't serious, it wasn't romantic. It was just two sweaty, broke 20-somethings blowing off steam. Condoms were used. When remembered. Spoiler. I did not remember that one night in late August, apparently. Cassie moved out of town, and I never heard from her again. No calls, no drama, no weird pregnancy rumors. She just ghosted. I figured she got bored of my broke ass and moved on. Honestly, I was relieved. I wasn't ready for a relationship, let alone a kid. Fast forward to this past March. I'm sitting at work, trying to fix a printer for the 1000th time, because yes, I work in IT and yes, every printer on earth is cursed, when I get this Facebook message from some guy named Mike. Says he's Cassie's brother and it's about something serious. I almost deleted it because the name barely registered. But then I clicked his profile out of boredom. That's when I saw her picture. Cassie. Older, sure, but still clearly her. Except this was a memorial photo. Black and white filter, rest in peace, caption, the whole deal. That's when the panic started creeping in. Mike said she died in a car accident 2 weeks ago. Sudden, brutal, just gone. He also said she had a daughter. Named Kaylee. And, she was mine. I stared at my phone like it was gonna explode. Like maybe if I blinked hard enough, the message would disappear. But it didn't. In fact, it got worse. He sent pics of Kaylee as a kid. One where she was missing her front teeth. One from Halloween. One where she looked like a clone of me and I kinda wanted to vomit. He said Cassie never told me because she didn't want to trap me or mess up my life, which, look, props to her I guess, but I would have liked some input on whether I was fathering a whole human being out there. Apparently, she'd planned to tell me when Kaylee turned 18. You know, just a little birthday surprise. Hey, remember that girl you banged in '07? Here's her kid. I ignored the message for 2 full days. Didn't respond, didn't tell my wife, just walked around in a fog, making cereal for my toddler and pretending I wasn't unraveling internally. Every time I looked at my son, I thought, Jesus Christ, he has a sister. I'd stare at my wife and wonder how the hell I was gonna explain this bombshell. Eventually, I messaged Mike back. We met at some random diner halfway between our cities. He brought Kaylee. I was shaking the whole drive. Like, legit had to sit in the parking lot and talk myself out of puking. She was already at the table when I walked in. Skinny, hoodie on, earbuds in, arms crossed, death glare engaged. I sat down like I was walking into a court hearing. I said, hey, I'm, Steve. She didn't say anything, just stared at me for what felt like a year. Then, still staring, you're the sperm donor? I laughed, couldn't help it, not because it was funny, because I was scared out of my mind and didn't know what else to do. She didn't laugh. I tried to explain, told her I didn't know. That if I had, I would have done something. She shrugged, said, yeah, sure, whatever. Her mom was gone. She didn't give a shit about me. She just didn't want to go to a foster home. I asked if she wanted to live with me. She said, do I have a choice? That's how I ended up driving a 16-year-old stranger back to the house I share with my wife and son, while mentally preparing the most insane conversation of my life. Telling Sarah was a whole separate kind of nightmare. She went silent at first. Just sat there with this tight little smile that said, I'm going to ruin you in your sleep. Then she started crying. then yelling, then both. It was like watching someone grieve in real time. Not just for our life as it was, but for the version of me she thought she knew. You had a kid and didn't know? I didn't know. You didn't notice someone you slept with was pregnant? She moved. We didn't talk, and now you're just bringing her here? She has nowhere else to go. It was bad. She finally just said, fine. But this isn't going to be easy. And boy, was she right. We gave Kaylee the guest room. Told our son she was his big sister from another mommy, which confused him for about 3 minutes until she let him ride on her back like a horse and he decided she was awesome. He calls her Sissy from the other planet now. I think that's affectionate. The first 2 weeks were rough. Like, should we be filming this for an HBO drama? Rough. Kaylee skipped school, chain smoked behind the garage, refused to eat with us, and blasted metal music that sounded like demons arguing over rent. Sarah was on the edge. I was clueless. Kaylee was in pain. Everything felt like it was breaking. Then one night, I got up to pee and found her sitting in the dark kitchen, crying. She had a photo of her mom and was just unraveling. I didn't say anything, just sat next to her. After a while, she leaned her head on my shoulder and whispered, she said you were funny. But like, dumb funny. I laughed. She laughed, then cried again. I cried too. I don't even care. I was just glad she let me be there. We've still got a long way to go. I've messed up already, said the wrong things, been too strict, not strict enough, forgotten how hard it is to be 16, especially when your whole world explodes. But I'm learning, slowly, painfully. Some days she slams doors and mutters that she wishes her mom had picked, literally anyone else. Other days, she watches cartoons with her little brother and steals fries off my plate like she's always been here. Am I the asshole for bringing my secret daughter into our home? Honestly, maybe. But if being an asshole means trying to make up for lost time and be a dad to someone who never asked for me but desperately needs someone to show the hell up, then I'll take it. Every damn day. My secret daughter stole my car, got arrested, and still called me Dad afterward. So, remember how I said things were starting to get better? That maybe, just maybe, this chaotic mess was settling into something that resembled a life? Yeah, that was a damn lie. Let me set the scene. 3 weeks after Kaylee moved in, we were kind of surviving. Not thriving, not bonding over pancakes and board games, but not outright screaming at each other every day either. I counted that as progress. My wife was still salty but civil. Kaylee was going to school. My son was no longer trying to ride her like a pony. We had a routine, and then she stole my car. No warning, no note, no dramatic, you ruined my life, speech. I woke up on a Saturday morning, ready to take my toddler to a dinosaur museum, and my goddamn Honda was gone. Just, poof. I thought it was stolen. Like, real stolen. I even called the cops. My wife was mid-freakout, our kid was crying because the T-Rex visit was cancelled, and I was outside in a bathrobe yelling at a squirrel because it was the only living being nearby. Then the police show up and guess what? Sir, your vehicle was located about 20 miles out. It was involved in a minor incident. I asked, what kind of incident? The cop looked me dead in the eye and said, teenage girl was driving it. Claimed you were her dad. I don't even remember hanging up. I just grabbed my keys, threw on some pants, and drove like a lunatic to the tiny town police station where my daughter was chilling in a holding cell like it was detention. She was on her phone. In my hoodie. I said her name. She didn't look up, just said, I didn't crash it, by the way. I wanted to yell. I wanted to shake the bars and throw a full dad meltdown. But the second she looked at me with that blank, dead tired stare, I just deflated. Why? I asked. Why the hell did you do this? She shrugged. Wanted to see my friend. She lives an hour away. You said I couldn't take the bus. So you stole a car? It's not stealing if it's yours and I live with you. It's borrowing, bro. The cop told me she rolled through a stop sign and got pulled over. No license, no registration, no nothing. When asked who she was, she said, Kaylee Jones, and, my dad's Steve, it's his car. He thought it was a lie until it matched my plates and insurance. They couldn't arrest her because, technically, she didn't do anything criminally insane. Just, stupid, and illegal. I signed her out. The officer gave me the, you poor bastard, look. I gave it right back. The drive home was silent. She picked at her nails. I white-knuckled the wheel. I parked in the driveway and turned to her like I was prepping for war. I said, "You know you could have gotten killed, right?" She didn't reply. I said, "Or killed someone else. Or gotten arrested for real." Still nothing, and then I lost it. Not like screaming. More like quiet, broken, panic dad mode. "Kaylee, I don't know how to do this. I didn't even know you existed until 3 weeks ago. I'm trying. I'm doing my goddamn best. But you can't keep acting like none of this matters." She looked at me and said, "You think I want to be here?" That shut me up. "I didn't ask for this," she continued. "I had a life. A shitty one, maybe, but it was mine. Now I'm here, with strangers, and I have rules and therapy and people acting like I'm a problem." I said, "You're not a problem." She laughed, bitter as hell, then stopped treating me like a project. Oof. I didn't have a comeback. Just sat there while she got out and slammed the door. Sarah was waiting in the kitchen. Arms crossed. Mom mode. I gave her the rundown. She didn't yell, just said, "We need help. All of us. This isn't working." That night we looked up therapists. For Kaylee. For us. For me, honestly. The first session was chaos. Kaylee sat there like a statue while the therapist tried to get her to open up. "I talked too much," Sarah cried. Kaylee eventually snapped, "If you want me to pretend this is a family, you have to actually act like one." Brutal, but fair. So we started family therapy. We made house rules. We had one night a week where phones go away and we eat together. At first, she fought it. Called it forced bonding bullshit. But she showed up, ate, laughed once. The second week, she helped cook. Didn't tell anyone, just did it. It was spaghetti, and she burned the sauce, but my son said it was deliciously spicy and gross, which made her smile. It's still messy. She still rolls her eyes at me like it's a sport. But she hasn't run away again. She texts me now. Small stuff. Need deodorant, we out of milk, son peed on the rug. She called me Dad once. Just once. Not in a big moment. Not after some dramatic hug. I was dropping her off at school, and she grabbed her bag, got out of the car, and just said, "Thanks, Dad." I didn't say anything. Just sat there, staring at the windshield, trying not to cry into my damn steering wheel. So yeah, I'm still not sure if I'm doing any of this right. But I'm here. I'm staying. She's not just some accidental detour in my life, she's my kid. And I'll show the hell up for her. Every time, even when she steals my car. She called me Dad in public, then told a boy I'd killed someone in prison. So, 3rd month into this whole surprise fatherhood circus, and I thought we'd hit a groove. I was finally getting used to the permanent soundtrack of TikToks echoing through the hallway, and Kaylee had stopped calling my son the Pea Goblin, which, honestly, felt like a win. We weren't hugging it out and singing Kumbaya, but we'd figured out how to exist in the same space without emotionally dropkicking each other. Therapy was helping, kind of. Sarah still walked around like she was one meltdown away from throwing my Xbox into traffic, but she was trying too. We all were. Then came the boy. Oh yes, the teenage boy. Let me tell you something. Nothing ages a man faster than realizing his teenage daughter, whom he's known for barely a few months, is being courted by some greasy-haired 17-year-old in ripped jeans and fake confidence. It started with a phone buzzing at midnight. Not mine, not Sarah's, Kaylee's. I wouldn't have checked, except she left it on the kitchen counter while getting snacks. It lit up. "You up?" I died. Briefly. My soul physically left my body, hovered near the fridge, and screamed into the void. I didn't say anything right away. Just casually asked, "Hey, who's texting you?" She shrugged. "Just a friend. A boy? Maybe." Cue internal spiraling. The next day, she asked if she could hang out at the park. With friends. Real suspicious air quotes. Sarah gave me the look. You know, the one that says, "You're the dad, go dad this situation before I spontaneously combust." So I offered to drive her. Thought I'd pull the classic drop her off but spy from a distance move. You know, subtle. Turns out, subtle is dead and buried. Because the second we pulled up, a group of teens were already there, and one of them, the boy, walks straight to the car like he's in a damn Netflix rom-com. Tall, lanky, trying too hard. He looked at me, nodded, and said, "Hey, Mr. J, I'm Tyler." Mr. J? Like we've been best buds since middle school. Get out of here, Tyler. I stared at him, then at Kaylee. She was smirking, and that's when it happened. Right there. In front of all her friends, in full view of my dad rage trying to stay buried, she says, "Yeah, this is my dad. He just got out of prison. Did time for stabbing a guy in the neck with a fork." The boy's face. Absolute panic, like he just shot a ghost. Kaylee was beaming. I was trying not to die of second-hand humiliation and rage simultaneously. I said, "Don't worry. It was self-defense," and then rolled up the window and drove away. Sarah nearly choked when I told her. She what? Fork, neck, whole prison vibe. She's grounded until menopause. We sat her down that night and tried to talk about boundaries, respect, lies that don't involve felonies, etc. She rolled her eyes so hard I think they touched her brain. Then she said something that actually made me shut up for once. I wanted him to be scared. Boys ruin everything. I figured if he thought you were dangerous, he'd back off. Goddamn, I didn't know if I wanted to high-five her or throw myself into the trash. We didn't ground her, not really. She got extra chores and lost phone privileges for a week, but the truth is, I got it. I really got it. She didn't trust people yet. Didn't trust boys. Didn't trust the world, and in a weird, twisted, Kaylee-ass way, she trusted me to play the bad guy. To protect her. I won't lie, I was kind of honored. Things calmed down for a bit after that. Until the parent-teacher conference. Oh boy, so I get this email from the school, inviting me and Sarah to meet with her teachers to discuss Kaylee's adjustment. Which is code for, your kid's a smartass and we're concerned. We show up, Kaylee's there, sitting like she's waiting for a jury to hand down a sentence. Her English teacher says she's brilliant, but a little combative. Math teacher says she finishes tests in record time, then draws middle fingers on the back. Her social studies teacher says, and I quote, she once said capitalism gave her IBS. I had to excuse myself to laugh in the hallway. We left that meeting with a mix of pride and exhaustion. She's smart, witty, angry, defensive, tired, but she's trying, and I see her trying harder each week. One night, Sarah and I were cleaning up dinner, and I asked her, "Do you ever regret saying yes to this?" Taking her in, she was quiet for a bit. Then she said, "Sometimes. In the middle of the chaos. But then I watch her laugh with our son, or throw a sarcastic comment at you that makes me laugh, and no. I don't regret it, I just wish we had more time. I get that now, this isn't just about fixing the past, it's about building something new. Even if it's messy, even if it's weird and stitched together with duct tape and sarcasm." So yeah, my daughter told a boy I murdered someone. I didn't kill her for it. That's growth, right? She finally called me, Dad, like she meant it, then tried to leave for good. I always figured if we made it to 6 months, something would click. Like there'd be this invisible finish line where we'd all stop surviving and start just being a family. But the truth is, there's no finish line. Just waves, highs, lows, and some days where you're just treading water and hoping no one drowns. This was a drowning day. Everything felt okayish the week before it happened. Kaylee was still moody, sarcastic, allergic to rules, but there was something softer in how she looked at us. She'd started helping her little brother with puzzles. She teased Sarah about her Pinterest obsession, in a way that sounded like actual affection. She even watched The Office with me one night and only roasted half of it. I thought we were getting somewhere. Like maybe we'd finally hit a stable chapter. Then I came home on a Thursday and the front door was wide open. Suitcase by the couch. Her backpack gone. No note, no text. Just a silent house and my stomach dropping through the floor. Sarah came out of the kitchen, pale and shaking. She's gone. I ran through the house like a man possessed. Checked her room, her window, the back gate, nothing. I called her phone, straight to voicemail. Panic took over. Not the dramatic movie kind. Just cold, shaking hands and a brain going, if she dies, it's your fault. If she gets hurt, that's on you. We called the cops, filed a report. Sarah was crying. Our son kept asking, "Where's Sissy?" over and over until I had to lock myself in the bathroom and scream into a towel. 3 hours later, I got a call. Bus station. They found her in the waiting room, half asleep, trying to buy a one-way ticket to her friend's town 2 states over. I got there in 20 minutes flat. Didn't even stop the car all the way, just jumped out and ran inside. She looked like a ghost. Hoodie up, eyes red, hands clenched like she was bracing for impact. I sat next to her. She said nothing. I said, You scared the absolute shit out of me. Still nothing. Then she whispered, I thought if I left now, it'd hurt less for all of us. And that's when I broke. Right there, in the middle of a sketchy-ass bus station, under flickering fluorescent lights, I cried. Hard, messy, ugly. I said, I want you here. Even when you hate me. Even when I have no clue what I'm doing. You are not a burden. You're my daughter. She looked at me, really looked at me, for the first time in what felt like weeks. You really mean that? She asked, voice cracking. I nodded. I'm not perfect, but I'm yours. And then, for the first time, without sarcasm, without hesitation, she leaned into me and said, okay, Dad. We didn't talk much on the ride home. She held my sleeve like a little kid. Sarah didn't yell, she just hugged her and whispered, don't ever do that again. We decided no punishment, no lectures, just therapy, hugs, stability, grace. Weeks passed. Slowly, she unpacked, came to dinner again, started calling me Dad more often, sometimes even in front of her friends, which I knew was a big deal. Then came the real moment. I was in the backyard, watching my son dig a hole to the lava, when Kaylee sat down beside me, picked up a stick, and joined in. She didn't say anything for a while, just helped him dig. Then she looked at me and said, I think I'm ready to stop running. And that's when I knew. This isn't the story of some guy rescuing a lost girl. It's the story of two people, strangers really, finding their way to each other and deciding to stay. Through all the bullshit, through the fights, the silence, the stolen cars and jail jokes. She's mine now, not just in blood, but in life. In all the stupid, painful, beautiful moments we've clawed through to get here. So yeah, she tried to leave, and now she's home, really, finally, home.